Good afternoon. This is Tyler Craddock with NARPM Governmental Affairs. We are joined again today by Monica Gilroy of the Gilroy firm, one of our wonderful NARPM members. Glad to have her on with us. As you all know, Monica has over 27 years of experience working with property management issues. So she's just a wonderful resource that we have. Yesterday, we had a great conversation about you as a property manager. You're having a conversation with your owner. How does that need to go in the context of the CARES Act? Today, the conversation that we're having, you as a property manager, you've got your own business that you want to keep going and your cash flow that you want to keep going. And so Monica is going to cover with us today a few of those features of the CARES Act that would be of importance to you.
Thanks so much, Tyler. Good to see you again. And yeah, hello, everyone. You know, this today hits real close to home because I, too, am a small business owner. I'm a women-owned law firm, have been. Yesterday, actually, was my 13th anniversary.
Congratulations.
Firm, thank you. Had been with a larger firm prior to that. But I get this. And so I am right here with you when we're talking about what our options are. We first have some wonderful options from the SBA. And my first bit of advice and takeaway is going to be, don't wait to apply for any of the things that we're going to be talking about today. There's going to be one we're going to talk about in a minute that's going to be opening up tomorrow, but don't delay in terms of what you need to do because there's so much available to us as small business owners. The first is what's called, or I refer to it kind of as the big loan, which is the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, the EIDL. We're going to have a slide at the end that gives you some links and websites, but this is basically, you can find it at disasterloans.sba.gov. This is exactly what it sounds like. These are loans that are given for small businesses due to an economic injury caused by the disaster, which is the COVID-19. This opened up for us probably about almost 2 weeks ago. Like in my state, we had to wait for our governor to declare the state of emergency such that we were eligible for it. When I applied 3 weeks ago, this was a massive 25-page application. It's now been reduced to about 2 pages, Tyler. It's real small, nothing that's real taxing. This one can really help.
Sure that's a government form?
I know, right? Only 2 pages. There's a hidden trick here somewhere. This one is one that you basically are going to be able to get regardless of how big or small you are. You can get, obviously with any SBA loan, the trick is always favorable terms, low interest rates. They're running around, I think it's around 3.75 for small businesses. There's long-term repayments, hopefully up to even as long as 30 years. So this would be the type of money you would want to go get if you have, say, other debt that you're servicing. Like let's say you have another line of credit somewhere else, right? And you're worried about paying that. This would be an excellent way to get some money based upon what you think you might need. So this big loan is the first big bucket, and that again is one that you can apply for right now. Now, aside with that, sitting right next to it, is this what's called Emergency Economic Injury Grant. And this one is $10,000 right up front. Now, friends, if you've already applied for that big EIDL, okay, the big economic disaster loan, you still go fill out a second application for this instant $10,000. Supposedly, it should come within a matter of days of application. I'll tell you, I haven't seen mine yet, but that doesn't mean it's not coming. But there is no reason not to apply for this. Now, all of what we're talking about today is really trying to think about what's going to happen down the line. Probably all of us sitting here today are totally good right now. It's not like we're, in an emergency sense right now with our businesses, but that's why you don't want to wait. You want to get all these things that are available to us now and then have it on reserve for later. So those first two, again, were the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, the big one, and then the $10,000 grant. But this is the next one, Tyler, that makes me extremely glad for all of us as small business owners. This is the Paycheck Protection Program. It's potentially free money up to about $10 million. What it is it's only going to be available for those of us with 500 or fewer employees, which I'm guessing most of our NARPM members probably are. But the best part is it also applies to self-employed individuals or the gig economy workers. The best example there, of course, Tyler, would be like an Uber driver, somebody like that. But the way this PPP works is that it's going to be based off of what has been your payroll they're looking at it historically over about a 6 to 9 month period, or if you've been in business just for the last 2 months, for just the last 2 months. But they're going to be basically be giving you 2.5 times your payroll, plus the amounts that you spend for a variety of other things. I'm using my cheat sheet real quick. Like if you pay some health insurance, like I pay health insurance for my staff, that portion that I pay, they get that. Any insurance premiums, so they're going to count into that number some of the tax. They're going to take away from that number anybody that's making more than $100,000 in your company. So that could be yourself, maybe as the owner. And there's a few other things here and there that don't come in. But basically, it's a very, also again, short form, about 2 pages, where you're going to show documentation what your payroll cost was, multiply it by 2 times 2.5% equals the loan amount. And then you tell them, I know, right? And then you've got to tell them what are the number of jobs that this is covering, right? But basically, I just have to tell them, I just have to say to the government that the purpose of the loan is going to be used for, when I get it, payroll, rent, mortgage, utilities, or there's an other box. So think about it, forget the other for a minute, but think about it from the perspective of payroll, rent, and utilities, right? You can get 2.5 times your payroll and use it for all of those things. But here's the trick that makes it free, okay? You have to use it, Tyler, within the next 2 months. So when you get it, you've got to
use it for those things, right?
Exactly. For those things, number one, you've got to be able to prove you used it for those things. So not that we could go on vacation anyway, but no going on vacation, no doing anything super crazy. But in essence, you're going to want to use this PPP, this free money, over the next 2 months to enable you to then hopefully, as you're collecting other money, bankroll that, create a little buffer. But it's an extraordinary benefit. And again, what's neat about all 3 of these things we've just discussed, the EIDL, the $10,000 grant, and the PPP, is small businesses can apply and should apply for all 3. Now, the PPP is the only one that isn't available yet. That opens up tomorrow, and it's going to be in conjunction with a lender. You're going to need to have, to make it faster, I would suggest finding a lender that deals with SBA loans, because they will be the best one to guide you through that PPP process. The other one that's out there, Tyler, that's big is the SBA is also coming from the SBA. The SBA is also deferring all fees and interest and principals on SBA loans you might currently have for 6 months. So those are 4 big things from the SBA that we can take advantage of right now.
Wow. And so, and as I understand it, that SBA deferral, that 6 months, that's not at the end of 6 months, you're going to get this big bill. My understanding is they are covering it. That's correct.
That's correct.
Wow.
Yeah, it's an extraordinary relief. Again, this is the SBA at its absolute best. I think we all might have tales about our SBA experience prior to COVID, but it really is, these are all absolutely extraordinary. And you know, about a week ago, I sat on hold for a really long time. Like I was like caller 1142. I mean, it was like people. And when I got to that representative at the SBA, her name was Becky. She was extraordinarily happy, extraordinarily helpful, tired, but they're in this with us, which really gives you a good feeling as a small business owner.
It is. And, you know, with all of the moving, the bells and whistles and the moving parts of it, one of the things I'd point out, and you mentioned it at the end, we're going to put up a slide with different links on it. One of the second links, some of our friends in the property management industry, along with one of our lenders, did an excellent video they posted to Facebook. So that link will be up that you can copy down, go check it out. I think you and I watched it. I think it was about a half hour or more.
Right, it's great.
Very detailed walkthrough, and so it's one that we certainly encourage folks to take advantage of and take a look at.
Yeah, definitely. The other thing I forgot to mention, Tyler, about the PPP is that the reason why I was mentioning the number of employees is that you have to tell the SBA when you get that PPP, I have, 25 employees. But then at the end of that 2-month time period, you have to show not only that you spent it for those legitimate uses, but also that you have still that same amount of employees. So I was talking to a friend today, a colleague today, who has a much larger foreclosure law firm, someone who is very impacted as a small business owner. He was concerned about getting a PPP because it doesn't give him necessarily the flexibility to reduce some of his staff, because he's going to have to prove that his staff was the same amount at the time he got the PPP when he pays it back. So give a little strategic thought on that as a business owner. I thought that was a very good takeaway. Just give some thought to, what are the numbers? Probably, knowing most of my property management friends, we're not going to have a problem. We need our folks, but it's a good thing to remember.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, outside of SBA, I think some other things you were going to talk about, maybe with student debt, a couple of other things there.
Yeah, absolutely. The student debt forbearance is a great one. I'm alas too old now. I'm done with student debt, which I guess is good, right? But anyway, if you have student debt, you do not have to pay anything. It's all payments are suspended until September 30th. I would absolutely wager, Tyler, that that's going to be extended further. I would think that makes, and that's obviously for the federally backed student loans, but that makes sense to think that relief could be there. You might remember, Tyler, there was some initial talk from Congress of even forgiving them in total up to a certain amount. So I think we might see something like that. Now, the last category for my small business owner friends and for myself fall into the form, Tyler, of forbearances, right? Now, we know we do, per the stimulus bill, a 180-day request from our own mortgage companies for buildings that I think it's not clear whether it's a residential or it's a commercial mortgage, but depending on how you're holding your mortgage, let's say it's for your own personal home, you can ask for 180-day forbearance on those payments. And you basically, what is that, 6 months, you don't have to pay mortgage, you don't have to pay, or they can't charge you any interest or penalties. And then if you need another 180 days, they can tack that onto the back of the loan, or you can refinance. So again, it's sort of like the PPP, the free money. It's sort of one that don't hesitate too much on, because there's not a whole lot of downside, but it's a wonderful way to keep some liquidity within your own personal household. Credit cards are offering things that are similar to this. I've gotten, and perhaps you all have too, a number of things from the credit card companies saying, if you have problems or want to talk to us, there's never anything wrong, friends, with just asking. The last big tip and takeaway I want to take you is what I'm calling the just ask forbearance. What is the harm in asking? Maybe you have a commercial landlord, and maybe your property management company was one of the ones that was supposed to be a tenant paying rent yesterday, and you just are, not that you don't have it, but you're just too nervous to pay it. Just ask. What's the harm? The worst that someone might say is no, but I would wager, as a landlord, as a commercial landlord, or as a commercial vendor, somebody who is also nervous, wondering what you're going to do as the provider, just having a dialogue, just asking will probably get you somewhere. I'm a big believer in just ask. There's never any harm. And obviously the lawyer in me says, if you're going to make a big ask, like rent forbearance or something like that from your landlord, and obviously it's like a commercial situation, probably back it up in writing just to be sure that you document it. But Tyler, there's never any harm in asking. Wonderful.
Wonderful. Well, the slide that you talked about, I'm going to put up on the screen now so that our folks can see it. We're going to leave it up for you for a few seconds. Of course, you can always just hit pause. And as Monica says, you can always, if you need it, if you need it or have questions about it, you can always just ask. You can just email. There's the information there is on the screen. Both the links that Monica talked about with the SBA, with SBA for the EIDL loans, the Facebook video. Also, if you have questions for us, again, just ask. You can reach Monica at propertymanagement@gilroyfirm.com. You can reach me at legislativeinfo@narpm.org. And of course, if you need just want a digital copy of this slide, just email me and we can make sure and get that to you. So, Monica, thank you so much for joining us today. I've gotten a lot of reviews, a lot of rave reviews from NARPM members who appreciate the insight that you're sharing, and we appreciate your sharing it with us.
Well, again, our theme is we're all in this together, but thank you, Tyler, and I look forward to chatting next time.